Hi everyone, so in this video we're going to be going over work orders and how to set them up in EasyOffice. So in the last video we talked about what work orders are, their different types and how you can use them. So in this video we're only going to be going over how you can set them up and some of the finer details. So let's first go to work orders. Make sure you've enabled work orders from the settings in the back end and let's create a new work order. So as we discussed in the last video, there are two types of work orders. For the first type, we're going to be going over the general work order. We can set a priority for the work order, set up the dates in which the work order is supposed to take place. We're also going to be talking about recurring work orders in a separate video. Over here, we have some work order custom fields that you can see right now. You can see how we can set them up through our custom fields video. In the work order, you can add items. So within items, you can add assets, groups, locations, users, asset stock, vendors, inventory, and cards. So there really is no limit into what you can add into a general type work order. So for example, let's just say we want to add an asset, we want to add a user, and we want to add asset stock. You can add any of this into the work order. It's not going to make any change to the items themselves, apart from linking them to the particular work order. You can also attach checklists to your general work orders. In case of general work orders, you cannot assign those checklists to specific items, however. So right now, our work order is in the open state. An open work order is a work order that hasn't been started yet. Here we have our work order details. You can attach files and comments. Here are the items that are part of the work order. The work logs. A work log is a record of the work that was done against a work order. So to ensure better cooperation, you can also specify who did the work. So a single work order can have work logs from multiple users in the system. You can also define the time that it took you or the days that it took you to perform that task. And we've created a work log. Lastly, since this is a general type work order, there are no services associated with it. Anyways, we're going to start the work order. So the state changed from open to in progress. Again, you can add work logs, fill out the checklist if you want. And once you feel like your work is done in the work order, you can end the work order. You can also print work orders, which is create printout templates for work orders. We discussed this in a separate video for printout templates. You can see the history of the work order. That is what happened to the work order, the state changes, and anything else. And you can still add more work logs or send reminders regarding the work order to the person that the work order is assigned to. So that's all on general type work orders. In the next section of this video, we're going to be discussing maintenance type work orders, which are somewhat more powerful than the general type work orders. So now we're going to create a maintenance type work order. Let's fill out the relevant details for this work order. One thing I should mention here is that you can also assign a reviewer and an assignee, and these can be two separate people. The assignee is going to get an email about the work order and they will have to approve. The assignee and the reviewer both get emails regarding the work order. The assignee is typically the person that is expected to perform the tasks in the work order or manage the work order, whereas the reviewer is the person who is going to determine whether the work order is complete once the assignee submits it for review. In maintenance type work orders, you can define what kind of service is being performed on the items. Over here, we have the standard service types alongside self-defined user service types that you can use against the items in the work order. In maintenance type work orders, you can only link assets or carts. And what's going to happen in carts is that it's going to take all the items in the cart and add them to the work order. So let's add an asset to the work order. You can choose to create services against these items. If you do not want to create a service or maintenance record against the item, you can unselect this checkbox. Over here, you can also choose whether you want to create a service record, which is just a history of a service that took place on an item, versus you want to make the item unavailable during that time. In a maintenance type work order, you can also link inventory, and this inventory is basically what's being used to work on that particular item. You can allocate inventory to a specific item, or you can allocate it to the entire work order. So for this case, let us allocate inventory to individual items as well as to the entire work order. When you allocate inventory to an entire work order, it's basically going to assign that quantity to all of the items. So for example, let's say you allocated one shirt to the work order. It's going to take one shirt, allocate one shirt to the digging machine and another shirt to the backhoe machine. And overall, you're going to have two shirts that were allocated to each item in the work order. Lastly, you can also add checklists to your maintenance type work order. You can also assign specific items to these checklists. You can have multiple checklists. Items don't need to have a checklist to be associated to the work order. So that's another thing to note. So here we have the entire work order. These are the details. These are the items in the work order. Again, the work order is in the open state and you can see the type is maintenance. You have the checklists and the items that they're associated with written next to each other. You have the work logs. Right now, there are no services present for this work order because we haven't started it yet. And the linked inventory items. Once you start the work order, the inventory is going to be consumed. Here we can see that the system is telling us that we don't have the correct amount of inventory at the given location. So let's go and fix that. Now that we are satisfied with the details of our open work order, let's start. Here we've started the work order. It's moved into the in progress state. You can go and add work logs to your particular work order and specify the time that it took you to perform a certain action, define the person who took that action, as well as the time that it took, and save. Here you see the services that are associated with each item in the work order. So let's go and look at the service and how that reflects the information in the work order. So this is the service that was made against a digging machine. If you want, you can associate a cost to this particular service. You'll also see the items that we associated, the inventory that we associated in the work order is reflecting over here in the particular service. Yeah, and that's that. Even once the work order has started, you can also link more consumable items. Currently, we do not allow reducing the number of consumable items in the work order. However, you can still add more because we understand that once you start a work order, more items may be used beyond what was expected. Anyways, let's say our work order is done. We can choose to end the work order over here. And the system is telling us that we haven't filled out the checklist, which is an important reminder. So let's go do that. Now that we filled out our checklist, we can close the work order. Let's end the work order. And our maintenance type work order is complete. And that's all on work orders and their types in this video.